Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the first of two sessions introducing you to Google Classroom. Hopefully, this will provide you with a certain comfort level to get started as you work to support students during our school closures. And who knows, you might even love Google Classroom so much that you continue using it once we're back together again. So, my name is Lynn Hilt, and I'm a program administrator at Berks County Intermediate Unit. And our department at the Office of Professional Development and Curriculum has been very busy trying to give you the most support we can in this time. And we're thankful that you've taken the time to come watch some of our on-demand webinars. Now, I started recording this and quickly realized that even just an introductory session about Google Classroom could turn into be an hour long. So what I'm going to do is record two separate webinars. This is the first one. We are going to cover kind of what Google Classroom is, the whys, just the basics, how to access Classroom, how to get kids in there, talk about the different components of the Classroom pages, how to navigate Classroom, how to set up your settings according to your preferences, and then we'll talk a bit about posting to the stream and adding some types of classwork. In the second session, we'll get into more advanced features like quiz assignments and using the new rubrics and the grade book that are available now, and talk about some tips and tricks moving forward. So thanks for tuning in. First and foremost, if you are brand new to Classroom, you might be wondering what in the world Classroom is. And by definition, it is a free web-based platform. It integrates your G Suite for Education account with other G Suite services, things like your productivity apps, docs and slides and sheets and forms. And it also integrates directly with Google Drive and with Google Calendar. So it's really this great hub for communication and organization with your students. In Google Classroom, you can create assignments, announcements, and questions. You can share materials with them that will support their learning. And I love Google Classroom because it is the ultimate way to maximize workflow in a digital setting. There's reciprocal teacher and student sharing. And since everything is synced with Drive and Calendar, you really stay in the know and can find everything really easily based on your current workflow through Drive. So in this time, why would we turn to Google Classroom, and why do so many teachers use Google Classroom in their regular school settings? Again, it's a great space for communication. It's somewhere, if you attended our online learning basics webinar, we talked a lot about the importance of having a home page or a home site, a home base. And this is certainly a great home base for students. It's really user-friendly, it's clean, it's not messy, so even elementary students can navigate it really well. It offers opportunities for collaboration and class discussion, and it helps you stay organized. If you didn't have something like this and you were attempting to organize online learning for so many classes of students, it would be very overwhelming. So this is a great place for you to start. First things first, how do you get to Google Classroom and how do your students get there? So let me just say right off the bat that depending on how your district organized teacher and student Google for Education accounts, how they created them, what students have access to, which apps, and what they don't have access to, your method for getting students in your classroom might look a little different than someone else's in another school district. If you have any problems at all or any questions, please reach out to us at the IU. We can for sure help you with this. Once you are logged into your Google account, and please use your school Google account when you're setting this up for use with your students, log into your account and head to that top right-hand side of your space. Use the Apps Chooser and click on the Apps Chooser and head into Classroom. That's one option you have. If you can't find that icon or if it's not added to your apps chooser for your domain, you can type in classroom.google.com and it will take you right to Classroom. Another option is to add Google Classroom as an app to your Chrome browser if you're using a Mac or a PC. And you can also ask students, or you can have your tech department push this out if possible. Maybe they already have. They've added Classroom as an app to the Chromebook. And that's how students would access. There is an iOS app and an Android app for Classroom as well, and we'll talk about that in session 2. There are some unique options for using it with a mobile device that aren't available on the desktop. Now, if this is the first time that you've logged into Classroom, make sure that you are using your school account, and make sure for the very first time that you click I am a teacher when you are ready to go in. Now, what that should do is tell your Google admin console on the back end that you are a teacher and you are now permitted to create classes. If for some reason you get into Google Classroom and you click on that plus sign we're going to look at in a second and you do not see the words create a class, you're going to need to contact someone in your tech department and find out how you can get permissions to do that. It's as simple as them adding you to a Google Classroom teacher group, but it has to be done on the back end. So please make sure you click I am a teacher when you first get started. We're going to go through these slides in and out, but mostly I'm going to be out on the web just showing you some things that are going on in Classroom, just helping you be comfortable in this first session. So here I am, went to googleclassroom.com, classroom.google.com, or maybe I went through my apps chooser. But here's that plus sign I was talking about. And if you're getting ready to build a class for your students, you will click plus sign and then create class. Lots of times people ask me, how many classes should I set up? How should I organize Classroom? It's going to look really different for your grade level, for your content area, for how many classes you teach. For example, yesterday I talked with a music teacher who teaches all K to 6, might have multiple homerooms in each grade. I would refrain from creating one classroom for every homeroom, otherwise you'll have 30 different classrooms here. If your students are doing the same content across the board in grade 3, you could have a grade 3 classroom and share that way. Now, some teachers create specific classrooms for specific courses, especially at the high school level, for specific groups, for specific literature circles. It's really kind of open-ended, and you just have to do what's best for you in this space. When students are ready to join Google Classroom, if they have email enabled for your domain, and I know a lot of elementary students don't, but if they do, as a teacher, you could head to the People tab inside your class and click Invite Students. And when you do that, you can start to type in their name and you can click Invite. They're going to get an email invitation that they need to click the button to join. That might not always be possible. So what that means is you will take advantage of your class code for your classroom. Now, schools are running into issues. They're not sure how to communicate the class code if students maybe have never been in Classroom before. Some schools are writing up specific instructions and snail mailing it home. Some are emailing parents directly and saying, these are the instructions to get your student logged into their Google account, number 1, and 2, joining our class in Google Classroom, and then they'll provide the code. So you'll need to work that out with your team. And again, if you need direction on that, please contact us so we can walk you through it. Once your students are in, and I have a student account here. This is a student in in that same class. Here they are. And your students will see every class that they've joined in this Classroom home space. And when they're ready to go in, they just click the title. They see on the first thing they see is the stream. The stream is a place where you can get information, get announcements, check out due dates that are coming up, and see that your teacher has posted something new. Your teacher might also write something nice and just want to share about the day. Hello, I'm so excited you're here. Hi, I can't wait to learn with you. This is what your students are going to write back. I know. Smiley face. And they can post. Now, that is considered a class comment. There is no anonymous commenting in Google Classroom. So Avery Hilt, she has written that comment, and as the teacher, I know that she has, okay? Now, that has automatically then updated on all of my all of my streams. So here's another classroom and I can see that. Now, as the teacher, I have some additional options there in the stream with Avery. I can click these triple dots. If I don't like what she wrote, I can delete it. If I feel like Avery has a track record of not writing proper things or appropriate things on the stream, I can mute her. That does not kick her out of the classroom. She still has access to all of the content and assignments. She just can't post in the stream. When it's time to share something with your stream, you can simply click here. And this is the box that you'll get really used to in Google Classroom. You see two things at the top. First, which classes do you want to post it to? If you teach 5 sections of Algebra 1, you can put this assignment out to all 5 classes at once. You don't have to, but you can. You can also, if you're just posting in one class, differentiate which students are getting the announcement. Maybe you only need these 2 students to know the information you're sharing. Maybe they forgot to submit something. Maybe they had a question pertaining to an assignment and you need to get them the information. You can just send it out to just 2 students. This is where you type your info, and you can even add attachments to your announcements. These are the 4 types of attachments you will see throughout Google Classroom. So once you are comfortable with attaching things right out of your drive, attaching a web link, so maybe it's a link to an online resource or a game you want them to play. Attaching a file would be something from your computer, and a YouTube video will simply put the YouTube video right inside Classroom, which is so great because they don't have to go to actual YouTube to view it. So it keeps everything nice and contained for you. So you have that all as options for sharing. And the other option here, if you're working and you're not quite ready to post, you can go ahead and schedule it for a certain day and time, or you can save it as a draft. So that is in the triangle drop down next to the word post. I actually did save a draft earlier today, and now when I click up here, here is my draft that I had started, and now I can finish it. The other thing you can do with the Classroom page is reuse a post. Oh, shoot. Let's head to the next thing I want to show you are the settings for the whole space. Here in settings, you can find class details. You can find your class code, which you can disable at any time. You can decide how students can interact on the stream. And you can decide some other things about grading. We're not going to talk about that today, but that's all found in the top right gear wheel for your settings. Now, there are other settings. Let's head to the triple lines on the left. These settings are global settings for your classrooms. These settings have to deal with things like email notifications. If you don't customize your email notifications, as your students start interacting, you're going to get slammed with emails. So you might want to either turn them off completely and just keep an eye on your classroom, or turn them on and decide specifically which emails you'd like to receive in terms of notification. If your students are using iOS and they get little pop-up notifications on the mobile device, you can either opt to turn those on or off as well. So those are your settings for your global classes. The last thing I'm going to show you today is just a bit about classwork. So if you head to the classwork tab, which is the next tab over, this is the space where students will go to see topics of materials posted. They'll see the assignments. They'll see anything else that you've added here from this create button. So what can you create in the classwork page? You can create an assignment. You can create a quiz assignment, which attaches a Google form. We'll talk about that in 102. You can ask a question in the classwork space. You can add a material, or you can reuse an old post. But let's start with topic, because as you can see here, there are some big headings that are definitively shown so that students can stay organized. That was created through building a topic. So now if I'm an elementary teacher and I'm teaching multiple content areas, I'm going to want to make sure my students can stay organized. And maybe at the secondary level, you're organizing this by unit or by lesson, depending on how comprehensive you're getting. This is totally up to you. There's no right or wrong way to use topics. Okay, so let's create a material for our math students. This is a resource of math manipulatives, and use this website to interact with math tools while problem solving. I want this to be available to my students all the time while they're working. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add that as a link, and I'm going to paste the link, and I'm going to add the link. And now I got to make sure I'm choosing my topic, my math topic, and then I have the right class, and now I'm going to click post. That's going to post to the classwork page, and students are going to have that available to them when they are ready to do their math work. So that's where you can find that information. So we looked at how to create a material, and let's just really quickly look at creating an assignment. So what I did earlier was I created an assignment that had a Google Doc attached all about a nature writing assignment for students. And if you can see here, what happens as an end result is I can see how many students turned it in, and I can see how many were assigned. And when I open this assignment, I'm taken to the assignment summary page. I can see all of the docs that students have been assigned, and look, it tags their names at the front of the title, so you don't have to worry about untitled documents. I'm taken to a little grading portal, and I can see the student work, and I can view the instructions for the assignment. Now, how did this come to be? Well, let's take a look at that. When I'm ready to create, I click the create button, I click assignment, and here I am with the title. Let's do a science lab report. After you complete your at-home experiment with cooking items, submit your final science lab report. Now, what this can do for you, again, you have those options on the right. How many points is it worth, or is it not graded at all? That's an option. When's the due date, or there could be no due date. What's the topic? Let's choose science. And will you attach a rubric? We will get into that in 102. These should start to become familiar with you as you assign things over and over again. So here is what you can do from an attachment perspective for an assignment. You can create a template using any of the G Suite apps for your assignment. And if you want all students' work to kind of be submitted in a coherent way, like you want them all to have the same 5 components of the lab report, for example, maybe you want to create a template and push it out that way. You can add something from your drive to do the same thing. Let's say that I have, let's say this is my science template. It's not, but let's just say that it is. When it is here, this is the key choice you have to make. How do you want students to interact with that attachment? Do you want them just to view only? Do you want them to have editing privileges over that one file? Or do you want to make a copy for each student? And that's what I did for the nature walk assignment, for the writing assignment. I made a copy for each student. It put the student's name at the front of the title, and everything was nice and organized. I would click assign if I was ready to push that out at this time. You don't always have to include an attachment with an assignment. If this is your instructions and your students know how to build a science lab based on the year's work with you, you don't have to attach anything. You could just give the assignment and they could submit a Word document, a Google document, however you're instructing them to format that, they can do that. They can attach it to their own work. So that is what it looks like from an assignment perspective. From the teacher perspective, I can go into my to-dos. I can see the work. Here's the writing assignment. Again, I see all of their documents. I can pull them up, and now I can actually grade Cole's work here. I can enter an overall grade and everything will kind of publish through. Once the student has submitted his work, what I want to tell you is it belongs now to me. I am the owner of this work. And even if I wanted Cole to go in there right now and make some changes, if I leave a comment, he's not going to have commenting privileges until I return it to him. So here's his work. It's pretty good. I mean, it could be better. I can add a private comment for him. I can say things like, here, check spelling. Probably wouldn't happen because of spell check. You could do things like another comment, please add a stronger conclusion. He's in first grade, guys, so we need to give him like a little little leeway. And I can add private comments, but now when I'm ready, I can return. As you get into this, there's also a comment bank where you can save popular comments that you typically give kids and you can just insert them over and over again. It's pretty cool. So check all that stuff out while you're learning and click return. He's going to get notified that his work has been submitted back to him, and then he's going to get his grade. Now let's see what it looks like for a student who has not opened the assignment yet. Here's Avery's classwork page. She needs to click on the assignment and she needs to open up her doc for the first time. Now when she is finished, okay, she will go to the top right hand side to the turn it in button. She's going to click that. It's going to start the submission process for her. And when she's ready, she's going to click turn in. She can also leave a private comment for her teacher. So that's the process, what the student goes through and what the teacher goes through. Okay, so for our first go and our first video, I think that gives you a good place to get started. We want to make sure your kids can get inside your classroom, that you understand the stream, and that you understand the classwork page with just the basics. We are going to move on to the more sophisticated activities in our second video. But if you're interested and you want to keep going for it, check out the slides. The slides have screenshots sharing all the things, what you see, all about people, how do kids join my class, and so on. And what I'd love for you to do today, since you watched my recording, first of all, I told you I'd give you the slide link, so here you go. The link to the slides is bit.ly/classroom IU14, all lowercase. bit.ly/classroom IU14. Lowercase. And because you attended one of our sessions today, we'd love for you to be able to fill out our virtual feedback form. It's bit.ly/cc virtual feedback. bit.ly/cc virtual feedback. So if you could take a minute and either write that down or view that in your browser, that would be awesome. And if you need the link after the fact and you weren't able to grab it from this, just email me and let me know. Don't forget to visit our Core Connections to Virtual Learning site that is linked off of the Distance Learning resource site, and you can get it out of the slides as well. And please reach out to me, Lynn Hill at berksiu.org if you need anything in the meantime. So we're going to get ready to showcase the second set of features of Classroom in our 102 webinar. So I hope you tune into that as well. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.